All right, so today's gonna be the first day of primer. We're gonna be using Speedo Coat Epoxy Primer Sealer. I have never sprayed primer before, but pretty excited. And here's what the car looks like as of right now. So she's taped up, everything's good to go. I'm not taking the hatch off. I did take the rear quarter windows out. It just made my life easier. Scared to pull these out, but I'm scared to break them, so we're just gonna paint right over them. Gonna do a little bit last minute tape here, but I'm gonna not try to focus too much on the jam. If it gets hit, it gets hit. But really more or less folks are trying to get a good coat over here at the top of the edges. And I've got this torpedo little runner, and I've got the Mr. Heater going, just to kind of get this booth going hot. So as of right now over here, it's almost 80 degrees in here. So it's been running for 32 minutes. What's gonna happen is, I'm gonna get this up, I'm gonna let it go for around another 30 minutes. I'm gonna wipe the car down one more time with wax and grease remover, put a little bit of some water on the floor, and the garage door I'm gonna open. So you can see this is kind of drooping. I'm gonna open it up just the height of these two box fans with filters on them, and essentially put that to height and just cover the rest up with this tarp. Turn the two fans on and lay some primer. As soon as the primer is done, I'm gonna let the area just kind of vent out for, you know, I don't know, roughly 2 to 3 minutes. And then I'm gonna crank the heaters back on. I'm gonna cover the heaters and move them out of here, but I'm gonna turn it back on and just kind of help promote, you know, the temperature to keep it in here. It is, I think, 25 degrees outside right now. So it's obviously not conducive to painting, but I think we'll be able to make this work. The idea is to get this body done this week. I think I said in the last video, I am leaving this on. Not too much of a concern. It is what it is. Just realized I forgot to take that off. I'm just gonna hit it. But yeah, I'll get started here in a second. I'll show you the primer and cross my fingers. It's been running, all right, it's been running for 55 minutes. Just kind of taking a little test tube with the thermometer. Basically 90 degrees. That is 90. Let's go about over here. 90. It's the roof looking like heat rises a little bit, so 91. Temperature in the garage is great. Oh, over here 77, but still good. So we're gonna turn this off here in a second. Sunroof, we got 92. And our thermometer, we've got reading almost 90 degrees. So again, we're gonna use this epoxy primer sealer gray. Little CRX is a neat little additive. Just gonna shake it. I've got a stirrer too. So as you can see, we're at like a little above 6. So we're just gonna pour this in. A little above the next 6. Alright. Am I good to pick it up?
Yeah.
Alright. That's one. That's 2. Got these 2 tack racks, or these 2.
This one will work.
Wonder if we could just do this. Problem is,
It's not perfect down here, but I mean it's.
well, I could probably just take this and do that with it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's.
Hey, when we were locking this down, did we wipe down your hatch lid?
No, we did not. If you want to gently hit that real fast. right, so here's day 2, and I hate to say it, but I'm priming again. So I had some mess ups yesterday. A, I was in a rush, should never be in a rush. B, I just never laid primer before. So I was gonna do the sunroof panel as like a test piece, and it was just like all kinds of things just went wrong. So number 1 was, I had to throw them away. No, I didn't. I tried one of these filters. I've never used one, but I gave it a whirl, and the pressure coming at the gun was 22, 23. For everything that I've sprayed, it's usually at like 28, and I was like, oh, I could probably get away with this. Let's just try it out. Probably a bad idea. The droplets were a bit bigger than I should have had. So that's with that. Primer, this stuff is thick, and I'm just used to, I guess, spraying like thinner base coat and clear coat. So when I say this stuff is thick, like when it came out, I mean, it was like covering right off the bat. So I think what I'm gonna do today is dial the nozzle or dial the fluid back a little bit, or just move faster. Just move faster. It is 28 degrees outside right now. In the garage, I just had it open to move the S2000 out, but it is 50. So the garage isn't terrible as far as holding temp as part of, you know, what is outside. I just turned the Mr. Buddy on to kind of get the garage going. But error number 2, I have no idea why, but I sprayed and everything went on pretty heavy. And then I went to go do the roof and I ran out. So I quickly was rushing to mix the second batch. And for whatever reason, when I went to go fill it, it's 4-to-1. And then there's a third one on the cup, which is typically, you know, let's just say the main paint, the catalyst or the hardener, and then the reducer. So I filled it up to the 8 mark, and then I filled it up to the third one, which would be for the reducer. So I put like, I basically mixed it like 2-to-1. Definitely an error on my end there, but I did it. I read as many reviews as I could. So I let this thing sit in here for like 4 hours, and then I went after the car and just started sanding, just to make sure paint, or, you know, the primer was sticking. So you can see around edges, I got it off. I went a little extreme. I went with like 150 around the whole car, and then I went over it again with 220. Like stuff like this, I just kind of scuff with 220. Again, you can kind of see there a little bit. Up in here, again, where it's edges, stuff started to peel a little faster than other areas, but no bubbles have reappeared over here. Now what is weird is, on the driver's side, if you notice from old pictures, there was like a bubble, and a bubble. A bubble was up there, a bubble was like up higher over here, and one was like up over here. So they're almost in the same-ish spots. But this bubble, nothing came about of it. This bubble, technically nothing came about of it. And this was in like a different, I ended up sanding here and the bubble was like up here. Kind of weird. Nothing has happened here. I think overall what happened is I laid the primer on way too thick, and I didn't let it flash off. So today I'm gonna really focus on increasing my air pressure, speeding up when I do the car, and honestly just letting it sit between coats a little bit longer due to the temperature out here. Box fans. As you can see, they are covered in primer. I'm gonna change these filters. If you're gonna do this in your house, I don't know if these two are good enough. I'll look at the CFMs or put in the description or something, but they did move air out, but not nearly as much as we probably should have. It is what it is. We're gonna move forward with that. And so I guess let's just start, get temperature up, hang the stuff up, do one more sweep around here, and mix the primer properly today, and fingers crossed the primer goes on well. Light a little, so that's hard to hit. That's really hard to hit.
Once again, I think that's gonna be fine. I don't know if that's like a crack in it, like this right here.
Yeah.
Or is that just a gap of?
I don't want to touch it yet.
I think you're honestly pretty good. You probably wouldn't even have to hit those if you didn't want to.
Probably not. So we're talking about, there is some paint that's a little light up here in the corner. I don't know if it'll come through on the camera. I got a little light there, and it was more or less just because with the hatch up and the struts, hindsight, maybe should have taken the hatch off. I just didn't want to deal with it. But yet I pulled the quarter windows out, so I don't know the reasoning behind that. It's just my thought process. But the car looks absolutely better than it did yesterday. Pressure was up, primer was mixed properly, and I just sped up. because the stuff is thick. So I just sped up exponentially. So just for video's sake here and my own knowledge, so the panel here is like 74.7. We've had these running the whole time, the 2-box fans, and the door's been open for an hour and 19 minutes. Down here, the furthest away, this is like 70 degrees. I think down here is actually the coldest. Yeah, like 65. The roof, like 77. And I really wanted to check the temperature of what it can be so I can choose the hardener for the clear coat more than anything. This rear quarter, 72. I think the sunroof panel here is 80. So essentially all we did was let those run the whole time, and then randomly we sprayed the coat and then pulled the torpedo back in here, and that ran, and the temperature would get up to like 80 degrees. I want to say the little guy, whoops. I mean, you can see right there the overall temp. I left this, the hatch was up, but I left this back here the whole time, and I kind of put it here figuring it's closest to the fans. It would get the most accurate temperature of what's over here, and that's like a little above 70 degrees. So the garage stays pretty cool because I don't know, what's the temperature outside right now? Weather channel says it is 44 outside. So I mean, we're a good chunk higher than that. I mean, almost 30 degrees. So the garage is pretty good. So I think we're just gonna let this just sit the way it is, and then we will wet sand it with like 600 grit, and then maybe tomorrow be able to spray the base and the clear. But the hardener that I have for the clear is it's way too slow. It's for 85 and up temperatures. I didn't look when I bought it, and I was used to just buying stuff while I was in Florida and not dealing with this temperature. So now I'm gonna get the slowest one, which I think is good for 60 to what? Or sorry, the fastest, yeah. Which is good for
55 to 75.
Yeah, I think 55 to 75, which, yeah, 55 to 75, which again, if you look at the panels, they're that temperature right now as we have the torpedo running. And we're not even aiming at the car. We're just sort of aiming it here in the booth, which just kind of hits there and just sort of lets it circulate around. I could maybe go to the medium one, but I think going to the fastest one, and we'll just sort of lay all 3 coats and let the room just kind of do whatever it does. It'll probably dip down to like 70 degrees, if not 65. And then after the 3rd coat of clear, then romp this up and let it, or give it like 10 minutes and then turn this up and let the room kind of come up to temp. Because if we just close the door, like we're about to do, and let this thing go, the room will get upwards of like 80, 90 degrees. So I know it says like the clear is good. I think after, I don't know what it said, something like after 45 minutes, it's dust free at 70 degrees, and then I think it's fully cured in like 30 minutes at 120 degrees. We don't get that hot, but again, we'll get it warm up. So, all right, we're just gonna take out the fans here. Now there's no more air, and just let this thing bake. And yeah, I honestly don't understand now though. So update, you can maybe see it. It's like bubbling right there. There's 2 there and a little bit of something going on over here. And then 1 up there.
And this random guy down here.
This random thing down there. Now there was 2 more bubbles that were here, which don't appear to be preparing themselves.
1 up there.
There's 1 up here, which doesn't appear to be, showing itself. And there's like 2 on the driver's side, which don't appear to be showing themselves. We didn't see them here at all, but I did an extra little coat on this just to sort of, because I sanded pretty heavy here. So I put another coat on here just to try to cover up, to show where I sanded a bit more, and then they appeared. I didn't do anything different than before. We're just trying to figure out why. What is causing this? I don't know. We agree that it's probably some kind of chemical reaction, but yeah. Joe's idea now is basically take here and strip down this, like just strip all of it. My concern of that is then it's just a huge buildup. But he's probably not wrong, I'm gonna get rid of whatever's there.
I mean, this is the 4th time.
It's gotten better each time.
Right, well, so it got painted twice by a shop. Both times the bubbles appeared.
I don't know about the first time it ever appeared. Like when it first got done.
Well, it might not have been here, but bubbles showed.
Yeah.
Then the bubbles happened again the 2nd time, which was here.
Yeah.
Then we sanded, you stripped them all out, sanded them all the way down to bare metal. And then
I sanded the bubble, like the specific bubble all the way down.
And then
yeah.
the specific bubble to metal, and then the area around it. Then it appeared on the area around where the bubble was.
Yeah, not where it was last time.
And now we sanded more.
Yeah.
And it's on the out, and it's on the area, on the edge of where you sanded again. So it's got to be on one of the layers.
Yeah, unless when this is dry, like I'm talking like, maybe do what you're saying, but like sand, like.
Right, but then we'll just do it again on the edge of that area.
I guess we could look at the edge of the area, see if it changes, if it looks any different.
We don't know what this looked like. We don't know what layer is doing it.
Yes. What is the red shit?
Which is what I think it is.
I think you're probably right.
Because the red stuff wasn't on the bubbles on the other side. It was only over here.
Was it not?
No, it wasn't. The red shit wasn't over there. It was only right here. Because we thought it was like some, whatever, thin set or whatever.
Yeah, like some thin body filler, yeah. But there's no way they body filled this whole panel. I mean, you might not be wrong, maybe. Yeah, people do some shady shit. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Just you see like the front frame, right? Like it's like fucked.
Yeah.
So I would definitely not put it past it. To be honest, I don't.
Here's what's weird.
Yeah.
Why would I put a self-etching primer out of an aerosol can? It doesn't do that.
I just wonder if that's not reacting right. I wonder if the first layer was reacting to it, causing this bubble.
Yep.
And it's just taking a while for it to appear because these are still growing.
They are, yes.
So,
I'm hoping this just gets hot enough that we can. It's almost.
And this is like the first.
I think in another.
This third coat. This was the first time it really got blasted with any kind of heat.
Yes.
Like we put the torpedo in, but we were aiming it this way.
But to play devil's advocate, right? If you. Like touch this, don't get crazy with it, but you can feel it, right? Like that's dry.
Oh, 100%.
We're good. Like I could sand on that probably right now.
Well, and
this may have been, but since we just put another layer of paint on it.
It makes sense why this is white because you just put another primer layer.
Yeah.
Why this is drier than that.
Yeah. So we need to let this maybe.
There's no way it's from this last coat.
I would agree with you. It didn't show up on the two previous coats.
But maybe it was just.
It was just growing.
And then once we put the last one, that's when we put direct heat on it.
Yes.
And then 10 minutes after the direct heat, we came out and we saw it.
I think if it dries to the point where it's like this,
yeah,
then there's no bubble coming up anymore. You know what I mean? Like, if it gets that dry.
Yeah.
We never let this get that dry. The other side is, but it's also been sitting there for what, an hour? You know what I mean?
Right.
This was sitting there for an hour. Well,
I guess the question is, right, it's not even if this is that dry, it's that whatever is the first coat is reacting to it, is that done? Because if this outside gets as dry as it can be.
I think if it's dry and you can sand on it, it's cured, right?
Well, you would say that.
Why did the bubbles on the car show up 8 months later?
That's what I'm saying. So like,
unless, hear me out, they threw coat over it, they threw base coat, didn't really fully check it and threw clear over it and never.
But you think it would have happened faster than 6 months?
Okay, so did it happen faster than 6 months and we just never noticed them because they started out so small and we didn't notice them until they became kind of big.
I don't know, but like.
I mean, I don't wash the car all the time. Doesn't really. I mean, it comes in the garage. I drive it to work once. It's not like I'm washing it every week.
Right. But in like the 30 minutes from when I saw this coming up, saying like, oh,
yeah.
I think this is gonna bubble to now.
Yeah,
you would have noticed that.
Yeah.
Even in 6 months, right? In 2 months, you would have like.
Just playing devil's advocate again, but you throw. I mean, I'm just making it up. Let's say 2-3 layers of base, 2-3 layers of clear. You got a lot more for it to physically like push through. Also, yeah. Right? I mean,
like you could be totally right. You saying this and it's good. You would hate it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I would hate it for you.
Yeah. If I sand this and there's no fucking red, because we just don't know what the red is. We don't know what it is.
Right.
There is no. I just took that out and there was no rust. So.
Oh, absolutely no rust.
So it's not rust. It's not as poor prepping as we sanded it. We wiped it. We friggin'. We tack cloth. We rust and wax and grease remover with gloves on.
And it would have happened anywhere else, right? Not exactly where.
Yeah, in the same freaking spot. Like, yeah, because it's not happening anywhere else in the car.
Exactly where it's sanded.
I'm frustrated.
Following the ring of it.
Yes.
I don't know what the fuck this guy is.
I'll be honest. I kind of want to sand it and not hit the bubble, to kind of maybe like hit on top of the bubble,
just to see if
out of curiosity, where is it? Is it on the exact ring?
Oh, I can see on this one. It's on the exact ring. Like
it's on the edge of the ring. I mean, you could try to show it. I can't.
I mean, so I saw it whenever you were. going around.
I mean,
So yeah, I mean like, so bubble, ring, then this, I can't tell exactly what layer it is.
yeah.
But I mean, I can see it's on this outer
Okay, so it's on the
section
outer
of
where I
ring.
stand to the outer. It's not on the inside, it's on the outer.
Well, it's on the inside of the outer ring, whatever that is.
Okay.
Like, who knows what layer that was,
Yeah.
if this was all bare metal. But like, I can see this, the inside of this ring, and then the outside of that ring. Yeah, I mean, I think you can, I can't tell if this is a smudge on the GoPro
I say just
or
let
not.
this fucking sit for 30 more minutes.
Yeah.
And I'll hit it with the DA. Like, let it eat a little bit on this. Only because the rest of the car looks fine. Just this one panel. That's annoying. I'll probably end this video here and then resume the next video to show what this thing looks like. I want you all to see this. This is long and whatever, but this is the life, I guess. I'm not very enthused about it. I was really stoked when we went to go get food that this was done. Primer was done. We were gonna wet sand and shoot base and clear tomorrow. I even bought hardener for the colder weather. That still might be an option tomorrow. I gotta figure out what's up with this panel.